Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have with us here today an esteemed literary critic from Northwestern University. You may recently remember his review of the esteemed classic Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham left audiences shaken, not stirred. We have him here today with us to review the trilogy of J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings. What do you have to say about these books?
First, thank you for having me. But when you say Lord of the Rings, the first thing that comes to most people's minds is the beloved National Geographic special. 9 straight hours of short, hairy guys walking, and that's about it for 9 hours. People doing the same thing over and over and how they're doing it. But through my analysis and expert understanding of literature, I've arrived at a far different conclusion. I wanted to understand why this tale was so revered by such a wide audience. You know, everyone loves Lord of the Rings, but the question is why? And what I believe is that Lord of the Rings is actually a medium for transmitting incredibly wholesome values. It's a story about coming of age, discovering yourself, and being the person you want to be. I know. And why is that the case is the question that most of you must be wondering at this point. And if you take a really close look at the plot, what you realize is that it's not just walking. It's actually, in fact, a bunch of short, hairy guys with like dirty feet and stuff. Really hairy guys. And basically, they're on this long, hard journey to penetrate this deep, steaming, dark mountain. And they're carrying with them, you know, like their leathery swords, and one of them has a silky white sword that's so saucy, and they walk together, and their task is to really, they're carrying this incredibly important payload with them, this load that they're just carrying with them. It's very hard, like difficult, and it's very spicy, and they're carrying this load, and really they're just sharing it. They're swapping it back and forth, carrying it on their backs, carrying it in their hands, carrying it in their pants, in their hair, and this steamy, sticky load that they have with them. It's sticky because, like, if you put it on, it's hard to take off, and it's hard, like, it's difficult. So this sticky load, they go to this deep mountain, and the movie, it reaches its climax. The moment when your heart is beating and you're sweating a lot, and you're really just at a climax, and basically these hot, short, hairy guys drop this sticky load right into this steaming hole in the mountain. And that is when the movie really reaches its peak, and then afterwards you just kind of want to sleep or do something else for a little bit and just cool off. And this movie is just, at the end of the day, it's a wholesome tale that tells a story about friendship. You know, it's a group of guys hanging out, doing what guys do, swapping sticky loads, and sharing these important values that bring them together. It's about discovering yourself. It's about discovering why you exist, what your purpose is, what your body's for, what your body can do. And at the end of the day, it's really just a classic film, suitable for all audiences, a treasured tale, and really something, just an incredible piece of art.
How do you think these values transcend to the film?
Well, if you think about it, the entire film is centered on a couple of guys who are doing something really hard, and they're just doing what guys do. You know, they hang out together.
Just guys
they spend
being
a lot
dudes.
of time together. They share their load a lot. They're bringing it back and forth. They're swapping stuff. They're carrying it around, holding it in their hands, learning how to, you know, get a grip, and at the end, at the climax of the film, you know, they drop the load together, and they leave, and they're just like, all right, cool, that's done, you know, you can just kind of rest for a little bit, it's pretty good, like, you know, I was like kind of, you know, tired, it's kind of hot inside, let's, you know, whatever, let's chill out for a second. And so that's really what the movie's all about. It's about just a bunch of guys hanging out and being really close with each other. And that's something that I think anyone from any background can really, really learn from.
I like the part where the eagles come from the sky. That's my favorite part. What's your favorite part?
My favorite part, I would say the moment where I was most engaged with the film. I really felt it grabbing me, holding me where I wanted to be held, really just grappling with me, and that was where those two kind of short hairy guys just they finally do what they were meant to do, which is to just plop that sticky load right into the hole of the mountain.
What a beautiful
that
tale.
was a really gripping scene. And afterwards I was so exhausted I wanted to sleep or just take a break, because I was engaged in like this long journey, and finally, it just went so quickly at the end, and it's just a whirlwind, and then before you know it, it's over. And so that's really what makes Lord of the Rings so special.
We'd like to thank you for joining us today. We'll have you back next week to review something else.
And that we will do.